This is Starshine, another 12-inch block, finished. Here's the diagram, and we're going to strip piece these 4 patches in the corners, and these are split quarter square triangles that go on the sides, and then a square in the center. And here's what they look like with 4 blocks set block to block. Here are the patches. The first is patch A. It's a 2-inch finished square. If you're going to cut patches, you cut 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and you'll need 8 patches of the red and 8 patches of the white, the background. But we're going to strip piece, so we're going to cut 1 strip at 2.5 inches times 21 inches for both of these. And for the AccuQuilt, these are the dies you can use to cut the squares. So you would be cutting patches, unless you want to cut them in strips. Patch B is a quarter square triangle 4-inch finished. We'll cut a 5 1/4 inch square, cut it in half on the diagonal twice. We'll have 4 patches for each of these, the white and the light blue, and so that means you cut 1 square, and that will give you your 4 patches. Here are the AccuQuilt dies that will give you these cuts. And patch C is a 4-inch finished half square triangle. We cut 4 7/8 inch squares and cut them in half diagonally once, and that gives us 2 patches. We'll need 4 patches of the dark blue, so that means cut 2 squares and then cut each of those in half diagonally for your 4 patches. And we're not making half square triangles out of these, so we're just going to cut the triangle patches. And here are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut the patches. Patch D is a 4-inch finished square, and we cut 4.5 inches. And we need 1 patch, that's for the center. And here are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut that. So the first thing we're going to do is strip piece the 4 patch units, and there are 4 of them, and they're in the corners. You can cut out individual squares and piece them all together into the 4 patch, but the strip piecing is much faster. Then we'll make the split quarter square triangles and then put the block together. Here are the fabrics I've chosen. Here are the strips for the 4 patch units. I had these, they're scrap pieces. And here are the patches, the B patches, the quarter square triangles. And here are the large 4-inch finished triangle and the square, the 4-inch finished square. So to piece the 4 patch units, we're going to sew these strips together. We'll sew these 2 together and these 2 together. Stitch along the length, press the seams open. I guess I forgot to let you know that I didn't have 21 inches, so I cut 2 of them at least 11 inches. So that's why I have 2 sets here. If you have a full width of fabric or 21 inches, then you will just have 1 set. But I'm going to have 2 sets. So I'm going to stack these up now. They're pressed and sewn together, and we're going to subcut these into 8 segments of 2.5 inches. Then we'll just take 2 and sew them together like this, and we'll have 4 4-patch units. To piece the split quarter square triangle, we're going to take the 2 B patches and stitch them together, then stitch it to the C patch. You want to look at the picture of this because you need to have the triangles in the right orientation, which is going to be this. And so when you stitch it, it will look like this. What I do is flip this over and I line up this corner first and then line up the sides, then bring it to your machine and start stitching at this corner here. You don't want to put this big point into your machine first if you don't have to. So then I stitch here 1/4 inch and press the seams open. Then after you do that, you're going to put these 2 together like this. Flip it over and I match the corner again just so I have the two sides to match up, and then stitch 1/4 inch this way and press your seams open, and then you'll have 4 of these. We have all of our units done, the 4 patches, the split quarter square triangles, and let's put the block together. The 4 patches, the dark squares go in the corner. And then follow the diagram for the placement of these. There's your block. You sew the units into rows, 3 rows, then sew the rows together.